Hey guys, it's Chris here from Chris's Creative Life, and I design workshops that help you create beautiful layouts from start to finish with easy to follow guides. Okay, I think we're gonna have some fun today. So in my head, this is super cute, so we're gonna see how it comes out. So let me just turn myself on here so I can see comments if they come in. Sometimes it just depends on the day for some reason with my software if it's going to show me or not. So I'm just going to pull myself up. Okay, so here we go. This is my plan. I just make sure my volume's not on. Okay. I'm going to take, I need to be able to see. I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. I'm going to take the August stamp of the month, which is so cute. It's called Tutti Frutti Summer. So it's the August stamp of the month. So as we are getting closer to the end of the month, don't forget, if you haven't ordered this, it's super fun. And if you're a VIP, don't forget, good afternoon. Don't forget that you get it with your qualifying order, right? So I made this card on Wednesday and it turned out super cute. So we're gonna use the same kind of color palette and I'm gonna do this strip again. But we're going to take it and turn it into a scrapbooking layout, and we're going to use sketch number 2. So if you don't have this sketch and you want it, just comment sketch below and I'll take care of it after the live. Okay, so I'm going to shoot you down onto my desk because this is going to be a busy one. So I do have some things ready to go beforehand. But we're going to make a 2-page layout, and remind me at the end I'll show you the other versions that I have done. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is, I'm just picking up some stuff here. Okay, so I'm going with the white daisy background, but I have to put this on here to try and balance the white. But we're going to do a section through the middle like this. So I took the same Distress Oxide colors and I've put them on white daisy. So I thought it might look really cute with just a Lagoon shimmer brush splattered. So I did one side so that it had time to dry, but we're going to do the other side right now. So I have my all-purpose mat here, and I'm just going to lay it down so that it covers up everything that's all over my desk so I don't get splatter on my desk. Okay, so see, that's what happens with white daisy. Well, with white, like a ton of white, the camera tries to autofocus. So here we go. I'm going to try and keep something in here that's not going to get too messy. So you can see from this sketch here, on that other side, on this side, I just need to do the splatter on the top and the bottom because the middle section is very covered up. And on this side, it needs to be kind of everywhere. So the one I already did, I'm going to use for this side that it needs to be everywhere. And this one, I'm going to just do kind of the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to take my shimmer brush and shake it up and pop off my cap. I'm just going to put a little bit. You can either drop it onto your mat. I'm just going to drop some onto my block here so it's a little more controlled for me. Okay, so, well, and I got some splatter there, but I'm just basically taking my brush and pushing it off the block. This way it's super controlled, so you're getting it exactly where you wanted it. And that's it. So this side I'm doing just the top and the bottom. So the other side that's more uncovered, I did the whole piece of white daisy. Okay, so we're gonna get a baby wipe. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly wipe this. Then the next thing I'm going to show you is this piece, right? So this piece is just, all I've done is I've taken the Distress Oxides. I wanted this to dry, so I'm going to do a little mini version of it for you right here. So I have a piece of white daisy that's just a little bit smaller, so it won't take as long. But so these are the colors that I grabbed. So they're the same as from the other day. Okay, so I have here peeled paint. I'll just move some stuff off of here. So I have peeled paint, mustard seed. I added in spiced marmalade, which I don't think we used the other day, candy apple, and picked raspberry. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how I did this background quickly. So you can see I have 5 colors here. And this is 12 inches. So this is the 12 by 6 piece that's on the left-hand page, just to give you a frame of reference for the size. But so this, I'm going to show you how I gauged the amount of ink I wanted to add to this 12-inch piece of paper. So when you lay your colors down, when I did it like this in order, you can see approximately how much space you have, right? So, and I'm just going to start at one end. And so I'm just going to pick up a little bit of ink, and I'm just starting off. And you could totally adapt this to kind of whatever look you want. And just blend it as much as you want it blended. So I actually need a new mustard seed. So we'll see how much color we can get going here. Okay. And then I'm going to go back and just run a little bit through the middle. So you can see I'm just starting off the page a little bit. And it just kind of helps me so that I don't get quite as dramatic a line. Okay, and then I'm just blending it out. And I normally have here, which I don't at the moment, but I normally have just a piece of paper so that I can hold this paper without leaving fingerprints, because if you touch your Distress Oxides with your hands, you're actually going to end up with fingerprints in there. So as long as you're not actually touching ink, then you don't need to worry about putting your hand down. But so now when I start to move over to this side, I'm going to put this down here to kind of hold my spot. So here I know, right, I only have the picked raspberry left. So I'm going to go in with my candy apple. I'm going to bring the spiced marmalade a little bit farther over. And it's just all really about having fun with it. And you can keep playing with this as long as you want to keep adding color. Right? So now I'm going to do my last color over here, which is the raspberry. I'm going to have to actually flip it over though, so I can get the right angle. So now you can see, like, I'm putting my whole hand down. So I'm going to make sure that I have something covering up my ink. Okay, so now I'll go back right here and just kind of blend them a little bit. I'll try and get rid of that little. So I know it doesn't actually, it's funny, it doesn't look like it on camera, but it's pretty well blended here. Okay, so then we're going to call this done, because I could keep playing for a very long time. So I'm just going to move my stuff back over. And I'll show you the two of them and then what I did next. So like I said, the piece that I did for the layout is actually bigger and it follows the sketch. So it's the 6x12 piece for the sketch. So here's my piece that I've done that we're going to use. And here's the one I just did. This is just smaller, right? So it went a little bit faster. So we're going to add it right here. And the measurement's right there on the sketch. So the distress oxides will react with water, right? So I just have my water brush that we're going to use in a second for painting. And you can either just drop a little puddle and then just splatter on your background. Or you can do the same thing, right, that we did with the block and add some water onto your block and splatter it down onto your piece of paper. And this will keep reacting. So you can see the difference, right? The water is taking away, or is reacting with the distress oxides now. So it'll keep reacting. So you just have to decide how much you want. And then I have some like bigger drops, right? So you can just touch down with the water if you want a bigger space. But it doesn't actually have to be perfect at all, because actually lots of it's going to get covered up. Okay, so that's our piece. We're just going to set that aside now, and we'll bring in the other parts. I'm just going to move all-purpose mat out of the way. Okay, so here, this little border, so you can see on like the White Pines one, it's a piece of paper and then a piece of cardstock, and then I use glitter paper, right? So we're going to do something a little bit different on this one, and we're going to create this little border. So this is the holographic paper. So I grabbed Twinkle Toes holographic paper, which totally makes the camera go wonky, but I thought it was perfect for this. So instead of these little clusters, well, as these little clusters, this is what we're going to create. So I'm going to show you actually how I did that. So I actually cut a piece that's 1 3/4. And then to create the strip, this is 1 1/8, which is, I know, a weird measurement, but it worked really well for the stamping. It's just enough for the stamping, but not too much that we have lots of space after. Okay, so now we're going to really quickly just do our painting. So I did do this the other day when I did the card, but I figured in case people missed it, we would just really quickly do it. So you can use your Distress Oxides, and you can use water brush and get this really pretty chalky watercolor paint look. So I did use the following colors. So I used everything except for the spiced marmalade. So we're going to use these 4 colors. And I have my small water brush. So, and I'm going to start with the mustard seed. And I'm just tapping it down on my all-purpose mat. You don't need a ton. And that you're not going to be able to see. Well, you can maybe see it a little bit. So now I have just my little water brush. And I'm going to paint all the things that are yellow first. So the pineapple, the lemon. So I created 3 of these because for the sketch there's 3 different borders, 2 on the left and 1 on the right. And I did this kind of, no, I didn't want it to look like perfectly colored. Like you could perfectly color it with your Spectra tri-blend markers, but I was going more for like a watercolor, chalky kind of look. Like whimsical, because I thought that for summer that was kind of perfect. Hey everybody that's jumping on now. I could see a few more people have come on. Okay, so I'm just painting all my yellow things first. When I did the card, I forgot one of the pineapples and had to go back. Nobody was paying attention. Normally people will tell me if I'm making a mistake. So now you can see, like you get that super fun look. So I just used, and I'm just going to clean my brush out just on my paper towel, just squeeze out a little bit of the water till it runs clean. I just took Intense Black ink and this image from the stamp set and did my little border. So now we're going to do the green with peeled paint. Same thing, I'm just touching it down and then taking my water brush and dipping it in. And this time I'm going to start at this end. So I did all the leaves, the tops of the pineapples, and the watermelon with the green. So if you don't have sketch number 2 and you need it, if you just comment sketch, I'll add the link after. Just because if I add the link before, it does funny things for the video. So here, I'll just move you down a little bit maybe. Just remind me to move it back up when we, there, you can see the ink a little bit better that way. So I just stamped it and let it dry. And like I said, this is the exact same process that I used on the card. But we're going to create a different little border here. I think it's all going to be cute. And this one we have lots of photos on this layout. There we go. Almost done. And I did, each time I stamped this border, I just moved the beginning of the stamp a little bit so that they weren't all the same. So you can see here with this one starts with the apple over here. And you could see I started this one with the lemon, right? I just moved it over a little bit so that they're not all exactly the same. So now I'm just gonna do the candy apple. So I did the apples and the bottom of the watermelons. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of the picked raspberry to the top of the watermelons and blend them together just to give them a little bit more dimension, to make them look more like a watermelon. So, and you could see, like, I'm not worrying about being exactly perfect, right? I just, because parts of it are going to get covered up too. So the border is just, we're going to build it with like that 1 3/4 of black cardstock, and then this, and then a 1/2 inch piece of the Twinkle Toes holographic paper, but I do cover part of it up. So if you wanted to build the border like in pieces to use less cardstock, you could totally do that. I just thought this would be the easiest way to put them together, would be to create the 3 borders versus cutting up the 3 strips individually. But you could totally do that also. Okay, so then this last thing will take like 3 seconds, but I just have a little tiny bit of the picked raspberry, and I'm just picking it up with my water brush, and I'm just really gonna blend it with the red, and as they dry, they look great together. So I think this might be 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th time I've used this sketch, and they all are completely different. That's my favorite part. Okay, I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of the water out until it comes clean. I'm going to now move that out of my way. I'm just going to quickly wipe this with my wet wipe. As you can see, I did remember to put on my apron today because I've been getting very messy lately. So I thought it might be a good idea. Okay, here we go. Now we're going to do the fun part. We're going to assemble. So I'm going to move all my inks out of the way. And here we go. So here's the card from the other day for whoever missed it. And you can go back and watch that video if you want. I think they turned out really cute. So this one is, I'm just trying to make sure it's dry underneath me. Okay, I'm going to just try and put something down quickly so we don't... Oh, and I'm going to move the camera back up so you can actually see the whole thing. It's all right. Okay, so let's see if we can get both on here. Ah, thank you. Yes. It just it kept them so that I remembered which ones we were using and all those fun things. Okay, so you can see on this side, right? I only did the splatter on the top and the bottom. And here's our piece. We're gonna lay that in the middle. Okay, so when you look at the sketch, right, I've got a border at the top and a border at the bottom. So here is how the finished border looks. We're gonna put the one that's still in pieces together. And you'll see, so for this one, because I knew it was going on the top and the bottom, I stacked them slightly different. So this is a 1 3/4 inch piece. So then I'm gonna add, then you add the twinkle toes on the bottom. And then I actually added right over top of the twinkle toes a 1/4 inch piece of black. And then my 1 1/8 piece of cardstock, which gives me this little tiny black border at the top, which I liked. It just frames it, and I think it just brings everything together. So we're gonna adhere this side in a minute, but I'm gonna put this border together right now. So I'm gonna put this border down here, right? According to the sketch, it's down here. So I'm going to create it the same as I did this one on the bottom. Thank you very much. Okay, so here we go. I have that 1 3/4 inch piece of black. I have my twinkle toes, which could do funny things to the camera, but it's the holographic paper. And I'm just gonna add it across the bottom edge there. I thought in my head it looked like it was going to turn out cute, but sometimes you never know. And I loved the color combination of the card from the other day, so I thought, oh, well, why don't we just keep going with that? If it's not broken. Okay, so I'm just adding this on the very bottom edge. So like I said, if you wanted to, you could actually cut this piece smaller to save paper. But it just seemed to me in my head to work a little bit better with the slightly larger pieces. Okay, so this is the piece we just colored. Hopefully it's dry enough. Okay, so now when I lay it on top, on the top edge of that twinkle toes, you can see I get that very skinny little black border with no problem, right? And then I'm just going to take this 1/4 inch. So you could not add it. I just wanted a little bit of a border at the top and the bottom to help frame that little decorative piece. Okay, so now I'm just adding this right underneath the white daisy. Okay, so then it's gonna go over here like that. So that is what's happening. I'm gonna turn these off so you guys can see more. Okay, so how about we adhere these down, because then it'll be easier to put our other pieces together. Okay, so this on the sketch goes at the bottom. So I'm just going to add it flush with the bottom. This is the side we did the full splatter on. I feel like I'm running out of adhesive. So because I do have a few layers of paper, right, I want to make sure that I have a good amount of adhesive on there. Okay. So this is this side. Okay, I'm just going to set this aside and we're going to do the other side. Okay. So this middle piece is 6 inches. So I'm just going to center it 3 from the top and 3 from the bottom. That's the easiest way, right? So here we go. And really, like, so far, we're just playing with a little bit of cardstock and a little tiny bit of holographic paper, and look what's happened, right? Okay, so I'm 3 from the top and 3 from the bottom. I'm just going to use my measurements on the other side. Okay, so now I'm going to add this one underneath. This one has to be running out of adhesive. It's like super tight. And I keep, of course, picking up the one that's like almost empty. That's why I always have 2 on my desk. Okay. So there we go. I've added 1 border at the bottom. I'm going to add 1 at the top. So like I said, I just did these in reverse so that it looked like a top and a bottom, right? Okay, so this is what we've got going on. Okay. Don't worry, the crash is not that bad. Okay, so now I'm going to take my photographs and add them on here. Okay, so when you look at my sketch, I have 2 3x3s, and then these are 3x4s, and these are 3x3s. So, and I picked all the same colors for the mats. So I have nectarine, flamingo, avocado, and then this is nectarine. So in one of them, I have, this is a title block, but I changed it on this one to be a photograph. Okay, and so Sharon, I think anybody would tell you that it's actually an excellent value. I might be biased, but there's a ton of content and great classes, and there's a huge library of stuff. So if you're actually interested in more information, I think if you go over to the public page and read the testimonials or the people's comments, I think that kind of gives you a really good gauge about CC. Okay, so then on this side, I thought this might be fun. So we're going to do something fun with this little journaling box. And so again, I took out one of the, because I had more photos for this layout. So this on the sketch is actually a like a embellishment cluster. So, but I wanted another photo. So we switched it out for a photo, but we're going to turn this into a little shaker element here. So I did this beforehand because I wanted to use Distress Oxide inks to make the fun and sun the hues. So I wanted it to dry before I started. So I took, this is from the same stamp set. So it is, oh look, I've got my extra piece of paper coming up. So I used this stamp and I stamped it in the intense black ink, right? And then I did the U for fun. This is why I brought that orange in. So that's the spiced marmalade. Oh, thank you, Sarah. I think they're super cute. So, and then this is that mustard seed again. Okay, so we're gonna turn this one into a shaker, and this is the journaling box, and we're gonna do some stamping across the top. It is a fun sketch, and I think that like at the end I'll show again the different versions, and like none of them are similar and they all look great. So even though it's a simple sketch, there's a lot you can do with it. Okay, so we could probably adhere these onto this side and that side would be done. Okay, so we're gonna make our shaker window there. And I did use the square thin cut to create my frame there. So it's the Stitch Squares thin cut. So that's what I used to cut that in candy apple. And this is what we're gonna put inside that shaker. I thought these would be great. So they're the bitty beads, and I've got some orange ones and some white ones. We're gonna use the sequins to decorate in a second. And I have my 3D foam tape because, so I'm going to tell you, I'll create the shaker first. Somehow I lost some parts of my shaker windows. So I just cut one down. So we're going to just make our own today. So, right. And the other thing with CC is that if it's not for you, you can leave. I mean, you don't have to stay. We're not forcing anybody to stay. You could try it for a month, and if it's not for you, it's not for you. Okay, so I'm going to make my shaker first because we need the glue to dry. So I'm going to set this aside. Once we've done this, then I'll adhere these photos and we'll make our fun little journaling box here. Okay, so like I said, I'm not really sure what happened to the frame for this one. So I'm just going to use my 3D foam tape. But you know what? We might as well we'll just do this. It's okay. I was going to just adapt that one, but that's okay. Okay, so you can always remember you can just create your own shakers too with acetate, 3D foam, and whatever you want to stuff inside of it, right? So I'm just going to block in the window. Like the frame, I mean. So this piece is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. So it's the same as the mat. I maybe should have trimmed a little bit off this 3D foam tape, but that's okay. It's white, it'll blend in. So you just want to make sure that you have everything sealed up so that your shaker bits don't fall out, right? And those the bitty bits that we're adding in here are bitty. So we don't want them sliding out. I'm just wondering, as I said that, look at that. Okay, I'm gonna add just a little tiny sliver in there. So you can see I just slightly missed it. I know. So for starters, if you name something Tutti Frutti Summer, how can it not be cute? And, okay, So see, I had just a little hole there, so I just plugged it back up with 3D foam tape. And the Distress Oxides are so fun to play with. They just do different things, right? Okay, so I'm just going to put in, okay, and this is going to be stinking cute. Some orange bitty beads and some white ones. So I'm missing half the comment there. So, I was missing all the emojis. Okay, and then some white. I thought that would just kind of play off of the orange. Like, that is cute. Okay, so that's what I'm going to use for my stuffing. So I'm just going to take my tape off. And then I'm going to add my acetate. And then we'll add the frame, and I'm going to let it dry. And I shook it just a little bit. But the bitty beads are actually pretty easy to get off the 3D foam tape. Okay, and then so I just cut down one of the ones I could find in my drawer. So I should have just used plain acetate because I do have a package of that, but that's okay. Okay, so the ones from Close to My Heart do have a film on them, so just don't forget to take them off. Okay. There we go. You should, it's funny, you should see that my garbage pile today. Okay, so I'm just going to lay this down on top, and I'm going to, so that is fun. So now I'm going to add my frame, and we're going to let it dry, and we'll do our journaling box and add our photos. So I like liquid glass for adhering to the frame to the shaker. So this is kind of like our title box and shaker, our title box and a shaker element all mixed together. So in one of them I did like a shaker element over here and added the title, right? But this one, I did it in the square just because of the shape of the title. And once the beads settle, you'll be able to actually read it. So I'm just going to let this dry for a second. Okay, over there. We're going to add our pictures onto this side. So I am going to, so I'm just looking where my 6-inch marks are. And that's where I'm going to start. So I'm going to add these two in the middle, kind of at my 6-inch mark, so that I know. Yes, and it'll be super cute. I know that for sure. So, or the shakers in the box. Haha. Because it's square, get it? I think it's bad if you have to actually explain a joke, so. Okay, so now I am just like referencing my 6-inch mark. I kind of want it to fall into the middle of my photograph. Actually, I'm going to show you guys this. I don't know if you can see this, but that's just a little hummingbird coming to the flowers. I was lucky and I caught it. Okay, so I'm going to add the top and the bottom, and then I'll do the outside ones. Okay, I'm moving that one farther away so I can stop picking it up. And I thought this was kind of fun. So this is relatively the same spot at the lake, but this is the daytime and then this is the nighttime view. So that's why I thought they'd be kind of perfect in the middle there. And then I'm just going to add the outside pieces, or pictures. and I'm just going to leave the same space between the two. And I love that all the mats are different colors and they pick up all the colors from everything else that we did to prepare the layout, right? So okay. Other than a few sequins, this side is done. I'm not doing crazy embellishing on it because there's a lot going on. So now we are going to add the photo. I'm going to just put this up on my Versamat so I can actually kind of see what's going on as far as measurements. Okay. And then remember I said, I think we're going to do something fun on the journal box. So I've added my lines beforehand so you didn't have to watch that. And then I've grabbed a few. So my thought was I have sunshine and relax here. And then I grabbed just the little, there's a little dot. So I'm thinking I'm going to add these across the top with colored distressed oxides, and then I'm going to do the little dot in the middle just with black. So I'm just going to grab a scrap piece of paper here so that I can that I'm okay if I go over. So here we go. So I just have my piece of foam. You can stamp on that and then clean it up after, but I'm just going to throw a piece of scrap paper down here. And then I think we're going to go with sunshine. We're going to do in yellow. And then the relax, maybe we'll do the relax in the orange. Okay, so I'm going to do the sunshine right in the middle. So don't forget, like your distress oxides, you can stamp with them too, right? They're not just for blending or playing with or getting a reaction to happen. You can stamp with them also. So there we go. I've just put the sunshine there. So now I'm going to add a little dot on each side. I have my intense black because that's what I used before, and so that's what we're going to use now. So I have just the little dot. I'm going on either side, and now here's relax. Okay, so I don't need black. I'm trying not to put my hand back in any of my inks today. So then, you know what? I actually think I'm going to do the pink. Okay, and I'm going to just, it'll probably go off the line, and I'm okay with that. So relax, and then I'll have the word go the other way. Just like that across the top. So quite often, I mean, you guys have seen me do journaling boxes before. You know that I always leave more at the top, And that's why. So I can go back in and either do like a little title or decorate it a little bit more. Okay, so we're just going to set this over here for just a few seconds while we do the rest of the photos. Okay, so now we basically have the 6 boxes, right, that we're going to add. This goes here. And then our shaker goes over there. Okay, so there is. So now I'm going to add these 3.5 inches from the bottom. So I'm just going to lay my ruler down and I'm going to set these in. Okay, and I'm going to do my 2 middles, the same as I did on the other side, right? I'm going to do my 2 middles first, and then I'm going to add my outside ones. So this is the 6-inch mark, right? You can see here. So I'm just kind of centering my photograph. And then this is for my journal box. That's avocado. I don't remember if I told you all the colors that I used for my mats. But we've got avocado, flamingo, and candy apple, and nectarine. Okay, so this is the journaling box, the title shaker box. So now that I've put my bottom layer in, it makes my top layer super easy to put in, right? So I don't need my ruler anymore. So I'm just watching my spacing between my layers. There we go. So totally simple, but very effective. And I think a nice use of the stamp of the month. Okay, so now, I'm going to add my adhesive to my mat so that I'm not flipping this over right now, because it's probably still just a little bit wet, but I want to put it down so you guys can actually see it in place. Okay, so, I really like this. I had a feeling it would be cute. Okay, so now I've taken all of the same elements, right, that I used in my card earlier this week, right? So we did the same kind of banner. I just switched out the flamingo shimmer trim and we used that holographic paper instead. And I used the same kind of color combination. It's not exactly the same, but it's similar. And then the black to set everything off. So I'm just going to add some silver sequins in. That's our last little embellishment, and then we're done. And I'll come back and I'll add the link for the sketch for whoever doesn't have it yet, and I will show you the other versions. So I'm just moving my wet wipe out of the way because I'm notorious for putting something down on it and then like it'll affect my distress oxide. Okay, this is super cute, this page. Okay, so I just have my sequins, and I'm just going to add a few in over the layout, and that's literally it. So I'm going to dump some. Oops, that's a lot, but so I'm going to also show you this. So I think the noise of the shaker is like half the fun, but those little, so you don't want to overstuff with bitty beads, but that's just enough in there that you totally get the effect of what's happening. Oh, look, I have a few on here still, so we'll use those up. Okay, so let's pull this out. So let's look here what we have on here. Okay, so you could totally add way more, but like I said, because this is like quite something, I wanted to keep the rest of it relatively simple, and then have the photographs highlight the layout, because I am all about the photographs. So, and like I said, this is all just cardstock and a little bit of holographic paper. And if you didn't want to use the holographic paper, you could totally use shimmer trim instead, or glitter paper, or just even a different color of cardstock. Okay, so I'm just going to add in a few sequins along the way. Just like that. I'll add a few up at the top. So this is Obi and this is Emmy, and he loves to swim at the lake. That's his favorite thing, and she's still not too sure. So because we brought her home in September and we didn't go to the lake right away, versus the first weekend we had him, we took him to the lake. So and thank goodness one of them likes to swim, because we had a lab before that was my husband's lab, and she loved to swim, and that was one of my husband's favorite things to do with her, was be at the lake and them throwing the it's like a fake duck, and then she would come back for it. He would spend hours out with her. So now Obi, that's Obi's job now. But Emmy is not so sure. She does like the boat though. So I'm just kind of picking a few spots and just adding them just because I can, for an extra little sparkle. But like I said, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Lots of things would look good on this too. So also I think black and white dots would look awesome on here. But I wanted to keep them built because I went from the inspiration of the card. I wanted to kind of keep the main elements the same. But like I said, black and white dots, because of what I did here, would look awesome on here. So I'm just going to add a few more up in the upper corner, and then that will be it. And I will take some photographs this weekend and post them. I see that it just started pouring rain while I was on. I I know, it's so bright and summery. Thank goodness I decided to squeeze in a stamp of the month week before the end of the month. Guys, it's hard to believe that we're coming to the end of August. Like the end of August, it's like the end of the annual idea book, the end of the July, August idea book, all those things. It's just crazy. So, that did not pick up. There we go. Okay, so it's time to go over the details. So I think it turned out really cute and the shaker is fun. Okay. So like I said, this is sketch number 2, and then I used the inspiration from the card earlier this week. So the full video is earlier in this week, or if you have a hard time finding my videos, it's best to jump over to my YouTube channel. That's actually the easiest way to find a video, because sometimes there's so much more going on in a feed, right, that it's hard to sometimes find the video. So both of them, I used the stamp of the month, Distress Oxides, just different embellishments. But so I think they turned out super cute. So the changes I made for this one is I added a photograph in this block instead of the title. I turned the shaker element into the title for the layout. We added a little bit of Distress Oxides across the top of the journaling box. This background is super fun. If you wanted, you could carry it over onto the other side, obviously. But I wanted I like the white space, so I'm good with that. So we splattered the background with Lagoon Shimmer Brush. And I think that's all the things on this layout. But so as at the end, I said I would show you the other versions from this sketch that I've done. So this was the original one, right, where it had this really long photograph. And here is our shaker title, right? So that was the first one that I did with Stars and Sparklers. And then I did an Isabella version. Oh, this is actually when we brought Emmy home. So this one was fun too. I did actually, that's funny, I splattered on the background, but this was evergreen. And then I did some cricketing and some embossing. And then I also did this Christmas version with white pines. So this is a shaker element here, but I've got the title element still over here. So far, we've done 1, 2, 3, and then this is the 4th version. So just don't forget, if you don't have this sketch downloaded, just comment sketch. Oh, thanks, Kathy. And I'll come back and I'll send you to the link to download it. And I'm working on a couple of blog posts so that I can group the layouts together that go with the sketches, so that they're kind of all in one spot so you can see. So actually, I think what I should do probably is I'll make one blog post and I'll add the layout photos in them. And then if I do it again, I can update it and add the photo of the new sketch in the original post. Maybe that's what I'll try and do, because I was having a hard time trying to figure out how to create a blog post so you guys could see the artwork all in one spot with knowing that I wasn't finished with the sketches yet. Because the whole point of what I want to teach you is to use the sketch and adapt it and show you that it's easy to switch out the products and pick just a different technique and come up with something completely different. Okay, so that's what I've got for you guys today, and I have a fun little idea for next week for our theme. So we'll see what happens next week. So have a great weekend, guys, and I'll come and I will drop the link in for the sketch right away. Talk to you later, guys. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.